Let's get underway.
Welcome, everybody, to Underway. We have an absolutely illustrious guest for you today. He's called the Denver area his home his whole life up until this offseason when he joined the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sam Bassett. Sam, thanks so much for coming on today. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I know that you were a little bit banged up lately. How's that foot feeling?
It's definitely getting better. I came into the last game, so hoping to get more minutes here coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in the intro, but it is your first season with Pittsburgh, and your first season, outside of the Denver area. How have
Mhm.
you found that adjustment being, living in a new city for the first time?
Yeah, it's been a unique experience. Definitely different. I obviously had my family very close when I was in college, but also last year when I was in Rapids. Obviously living with my brother as well, made it pretty easy. And then having all my friends at the university, at least last year, was really nice to still be close with them. Now that I'm on the other side of the country, it's a little bit difficult, but still in close contact with my family, friends, brother. We're always FaceTiming, so it's still nice to connect with all them.
That's nice, man. Keeping it close as much as you can. It
Yeah,
almost feels like, when I moved away to college, I went from Ohio to California. FaceTime was a big thing. Do you feel
yeah.
like your cell phone plan's going up at all?
I mean, for sure, there's days where me and my brother and sometimes some of our friends are on for like 3 or 4 hours just on FaceTime. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
How did you end up landing on Pittsburgh being the place you wanted to end up joining? And, I have to assume that there's probably a lot of interest from other clubs as well.
Yeah, so I went to preseason with Nashville, and that was a pretty long stint, and I came out pretty late, I would say. So USL, a lot of the teams have already made a lot of their signings because it was basically February.
Yeah.
By that point, um, maybe like a week or two into February. And so I was talking to a few teams, and it was really just about what place was going to suit me best, where I feel like I can thrive the most. And the presentation Rob Vincent, our head coach, gave was I liked it a lot and where he saw me and kind of the culture on the team. So
hmm
that was kind of a place where I thought I fit best. So that's kind of where I went with.
Yeah, you mentioned head coach Rob Vincent. It's his first season as a full-time head coach after leading them to
Mhm.
the title last season. How has your relationship been with him?
It's been really good. I think uh obviously he just stepped into a new role, but I think he's done a good job and I think just trying to do a lot of film with him. I feel like him as a pro was kind of similar to the way I play. I've seen his highlights and they're pretty unreal. So
Yeah.
just some of the stuff he did in the game, it seems kind of similar to the way I play. So just being able to watch film with him weekly over the games and connect over that way, it's been really good.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, it feels a little different because a lot of their team feels like, score by the team, not necessarily like an individual player. Last year, Augie Williams was their top goal scorer. He departed. You guys don't play the same position, but it seems like, there does seem to be an effort to make sure you're getting your possession and opportunities with the ball. What were the talks like, before you signed, like for that role within the team?
Yeah, I mean, my goal was to play more as a box-to-box midfielder. I kind of see myself in that way, uh, just with how much I want to be on the ball, but also that I want to join the attack. So it's kind of that eight role. And we've been trying to figure out kind of ways for me to kind of play that sort of position, but not be too defensive, also help in the press. So I have been a little higher up, especially in the press when we don't have the ball.
Yeah.
But just being able to find different pockets of space where it's whether it's lower and I can get the ball and use my passing range, or if I can just stay in higher pockets and play the final pass or get the final shot off. But yeah, I would say it's very result like kind of like you were saying around the team.
hmm
I wouldn't say it's much of an individualistic team at all. I think we do try and have this culture where it's a team thing.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is fifth right now. A little bit of like a mixed bag of results this past month, but you
Mhm.
guys are within striking distance of second place in the East. How have you seen this season play out in your eyes so far?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me. I don't necessarily like to speak on the games that I haven't played in because
Hmm.
I'm obviously not out there. But I think the biggest thing recently is just finding that consistency. We've beat a lot of the top teams, outplayed a lot of the top teams, and then we've fallen short against some of the teams at the bottom of the table, which is quite interesting. We're just trying to find that consistency through all the games. And kind of whether it's maybe we should have got a tie this weekend or something like that out of the games where maybe we don't deserve a loss. We're just trying to find those margins and win every single play so that we can ultimately come out on the end of things. So hopefully we can start to turn this around in the next few games.
And, you're joining a team off the back of them winning their first ever USL title last season. They weren't favorites going into the season or necessarily into the playoffs, but
Hmm.
that final game was insane. The whole lead up to it, eventually winning was wild. But when you're joining a team that just won a championship, does that add more pressure, or was that like one of the factors that played into you wanting to sign with them?
I guess I played like a small factor, just like that winning culture, winning
Hmm.
mentality. It kind of seemed like a team similar to my college team, where it's not necessarily like all the best players, but it's like a team of more so like guys who want to get the job done and fight for each other.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say it's more so that, I guess. I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, the collective instead of the
Yeah, the
individual.
collective. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of players' dreams are to eventually play for their boyhood club, which you got to do.
Mhm.
But how was it mentally when, you knew that you'd eventually have to find a different place to continue your career?
Yeah, it was a dream come true to play for the hometown club. I think it's a little bit different when you grow up there. You go to a lot of the games. For 5, 6 years, I went to every single one of my brother's games
Hmm.
at that field. And then to finally work my way up to be playing in front of those fans, it just means a lot more.
Yeah.
It means something different. And it really sucked having to leave. But I think it was, I guess, for the best for me to find a new place and hopefully find myself back where I want to be in the MLS. So that's my goal.
Yeah. Did you always know that this is what you want to do with your life and, the career that you wanted to pursue from a young age?
I would say so. I feel like from a young age, me and my brother used to do just everything together.
Hmm.
And it was always playing a bunch of sports. It turned into soccer and baseball. And once we chose the soccer route, it was kind of like, can we go professional? And it was just, I would say, two guys who would just train and work harder than most people to live out that dream. And I feel like that's still kind of the way it goes. Just trying to outwork everyone to kind of get to where we want to be because it never comes easy. I mean, I definitely saw it last year with felt like I did more than enough to earn another contract, but
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't go your way. So just doing everything you can each day to put yourself in a better spot.
Yeah, you mentioned playing dual sports. A lot of parents nowadays kind of like focus on one thing. And do you think that that's a detriment to players? Like maybe they get gassed out a little bit, or do you think like it's a good thing that, you're able to kind of be able to play a multitude of sports?
I think it's a good thing
Yeah.
from a young age. I think those other sports will help you. I think in the long run, just using different body parts, different
Hmm.
muscle groups. I think some kids, or once they're older, can get worn out from playing the sport, but I feel like it really just comes deep within you how much you love the game, your passion. I feel like the people who start to fade out, are just, I guess, the people who don't necessarily care about it as much and don't
Yeah.
have that drive to keep going, keep pushing themselves. So I've never like it's wavered. I would say a little bit, especially when you're like hurt and you're like,
Yeah.
why is stuff not going my way? But no, the drive is always there within me, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to get back to that spot.
Yeah. You mentioned it earlier. You spent your college years at University of Denver, where you were just dominant. How did you end up deciding that that was a place in the system you wanted to go?
Yeah, so my brother actually committed to the University of Denver, and then he signed his homegrown pretty early
Hmm.
on. So we knew the coaching staff pretty well. And when he committed, they kind of make it made a joke that you're going to be the next one. At the time, I always kept it in the back of my mind, but
Yeah.
once the time came, I went on a visit. It was kind of just everything they have to do with from the culture to the soccer to the stuff they do in the weight room. Um, it's just I haven't seen anything like it even after I've left the school and talked to other guys about what they went through in their college years. And so like I think it was one of the best decisions staying local. I have some of the my best friends who I still talk to every single day, and I feel like we just grew as a really close group together, and we were not ultimately able to achieve the national championship, but I think we deserve to win it all. But
Yeah.
I guess some people say otherwise. But yeah,
Well, I mean, like 74 career points, 24 goals, 26 assists, like that put you second in their history. They've had some pretty damn good players to play for them. And if
yeah,
I list out all of your accolades, I'm sure that we'd be here for like 20 more minutes than what we have scheduled. But, the biggest personal accomplishment has to be being a finalist for the Mac Herman Trophy. You came
Mhm.
second. How was it hearing your name being listed as like one of the top three best players in the country?
Yeah. It was a really cool moment. To be at that ceremony was really cool to share it with those other two guys who I've been able to play against this year and talk with them still. So it was really cool to be able to represent the University of Denver.
Yeah.
One of the other guys who was nominated, Andre Shinyashiki, back in the day for
Yeah.
Denver. We still talk and just we joke about how we got robbed, especially him because he scored 28 goals in one year. But
Yeah.
I know it was really cool to be able to represent the University of Denver, and I wish I won it, but can't really say that the other guys didn't deserve it either. So
Yeah.
no, it was really cool.
Yeah, you mentioned Andre. He was the first most points in Denver history.
Yeah.
You mentioned the team you should have won a championship. The Denver Post called you the best player on the country's number one team. Was there like a moment during that season where you looked around, you're like, man, this is pretty awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a long time coming. Our class coming in, even before we got there, we were kind of saying that we wanted to be the first champions at Denver.
Hmm.
We had a really good recruiting class. The class above us was really good. And so when we came in, we knew we could do big things. Our junior year, unfortunately, three of the guys had season-ending injuries. So that junior year really should have been our first run at it.
Hmm.
But a few of those guys were injured, so we fell short in the second round. And so we knew that next year was going to be a big one for us. We knew how good we were. We knew what it took to get to the championship. And yeah, obviously fell short in PKs. It's really luck at that point. But yeah, I think we tried to not necessarily look at all the stuff online that I guess how good we were doing and stuff like that, traveling all over the country, beating a lot of the ACC teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because we knew we just had one goal to win the Natty, but obviously fell short.
That doesn't take away from the great collegiate career that you had. After you ended up signing a homegrown deal with the Rapids, what through your mind, when you signed that contract and you walked in and saw your jersey hanging up in the locker room with the other players that I'm sure you kind of, saw playing throughout the years, was it
Yeah.
surreal? or was it like this is everything I've been working for?
Um, I think it was really just I think it was a combination, but
Hmm.
really just like everything I've been working for has come to this point, and the work just continues. It doesn't stop there. And especially seeing my locker next to my brother's was just a really cool thing, proud moment for my family. Signing that contract was unbelievable, but I feel like all the stuff within that period of time was happening so fast with the Mac Herman, and then getting signed, and then preseason came pretty quick. So all the stuff was happening so fast that it was kind of hard to take a little bit of a breath.
Yeah, you mentioned your older brother. It was the first time in Rapids history since the Henderson brothers played together. Is that something you guys talked about as kids, like wanting to play on the same team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said before, we would do about everything together, especially I think you would see it during training. We would film COVID. We were filming videos of us training, just doing a bunch of shooting drills constantly, hours every single day. So I think it was always a dream of ours. I don't think it necessarily like fully came into like the possibility of it happening until my senior year.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was always a dream of ours. We look forward to that. We didn't get out on the field as much as we wanted to together, but we did get to have a game where we started together and played together.
Yeah.
So it was really cool for us, really cool for our family.
Yeah, I'm the younger brother. I've worked with my older brother once. There was
Yeah.
some friction sometimes where, it was like, are we brothers now or are we coworkers? Like how are we playing this dynamic? Did you
Yeah.
guys ever come into that friction on the pitch or at like the training facility, or you guys have a better relationship than me and my brother?
I think like for the most part, people would always be saying that we're like always together, like in the
Yeah.
facility and whatnot. I think we just like to do a lot of the same things. We're kind of wired the same, but once we're out on the field, I mean, we're obviously brothers, but it's kind of business at that point. Like
Yeah.
if someone messes up, I mean, he got on me a couple times. There was one in the game that I specifically remember him getting on me for, and it's good criticism to take. I'm fully open to that kind of criticism because ultimately it helps me get better, help the team get better. So
Yeah.
no, there was some funny ones though, for sure.
At the Rapids, you got your first career start. You played in a couple different tournaments, repping your home. Like, what was the fondest memory that season in Colorado?
Ooh, fondest memory. I think it might have to just be my first start.
Yeah,
Um, I didn't have any clue that I was starting until the Friday morning when they put the lineup before training. And I just felt the nerves rushing through me right when I saw my name up there. I was kind of because I'm used to seeing my brother's name up there,
yeah,
um, and they put it up, and you could just kind of feel all the nerves and just preparation for that game. It was really exciting to have my family and some friends in the stands, and ultimately get the win that game. So it was really cool.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
When watching you play, it feels like you have this motor that doesn't really slow down. Do you think that that's like how you're wired, or do you think that altitude in Colorado was a benefit your whole life?
Um, I think it's definitely got to be a little bit how we're wired
Yeah,
because me and my brother are both pretty similar in that aspect. As the years have gone on, he started to be smarter and pick the times where he runs, I guess. I'm still running a little bit too much, I think.
that's good
Or
though.
yeah, I don't know if it'll be good in a few years when my body starts to feel it, but yeah, I don't know. The altitude, maybe it's helped a little bit just training all the years at altitude, but I mean, the amount of fitness and stuff we used to do in college to prepare for the season was a lot. So it's always definitely been a strength of mine, but you know, I think it just helps in terms of you can still think about what's going on in the game and not be like thinking of your legs or your lungs hurting. So just to be really fit and be able to still process what's going on in the game is really helpful.
Yeah, you called yourself a box-to-box midfielder earlier, but
Hmm.
you're no slouch when it comes to attacking, and I'm sure, most attackers would be happy to have like the offensive awareness that you have on the ball, be able to link up play and like your ability to create chances, but
Hmm.
you also track back, you get defensive, and you're really well-rounded first team type of player. Like in a world where most players in your position like stay more offensive focused, why is it important to you to, make your presence felt on the defensive side as well?
Um, I mean, especially this year, I've been focusing a lot on winning duels and stuff like that because I
Hmm.
think that's one of the things that people have pointed out that I need to work on a little bit just to get my game to increase my game even more. I think the press obviously with running and stuff, just putting people under pressure is always a tough thing when you're on the ball, is just constant pressure on people. But obviously tracking back, my willingness to run has helped a lot. But yeah, getting stuck in on the defensive side has always been something that I want to work on.
Hmm.
And just adding that to my game, I think will take me to the next level. So just going over film with the coaches has been a big thing this year. How I can be better defensively, and just help the team ultimately win more battles, win more duels, and yeah, win more games because you never know which play is gonna win the game in the end.
Yeah, and last question before we hit this rapid fire portion,
Yeah.
these outside the box golazos, man, like the audacity to not only take the shot, but for like them to actually go in. Like, are you on the training pitch practicing? Like, hey, if I get an open look 20 to 30 yards out, like I'm just gonna take it.
I would say I do a decent amount of finishing like in and around the box, usually around the top of the 18, not like
Yeah.
really far out, but I know like I can still hit from that distance. Um, so yeah, it's kind of when I get the chance, there's not many opportunities, to be honest, in a lot of
Yeah.
these USL games. So when I do get the chance, I do like to strike it from distance. And with these balls, you never know. They move a lot, they know a
Yeah.
lot. So you never know where it's going to go. So yeah, I mean, I do practice a decent bit, but it's nice to get the opportunities in the game as well.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where you're like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have taken that?
One of the ones where I did score, or just like one of the ones in the game.
One of the ones in the
Like,
game.
no, I mean, if I get the chance to shoot, I don't ever feel like it's like, no, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have taken, unless there's a guy that's wide open, then no.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah,
Winning mentality, man.
yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get to the rapid fire portion called Let's Get Underway. These fits that you're rocking to game day, how do you decide on them? Like, what's your thought process before you land on one of them? Give a dad of two, like, a little bit of guidance here on how to up my style.
That's tough because I feel like you gotta, I don't know, I have this like, I look on Pinterest a lot and have
Okay.
like a little bit of like stuff I have pinned
Mhm.
with kind of the look I go for. And then obviously you got to find the pieces online. So it's I don't know, there's a whole process to finding the look that you want to go for,
Mhm.
finding in stores, whether I mean I'm a big Zara guy,
Yeah.
so finding it there, and then kind of pulling off the look, but it's not necessarily like I just throw it on right as I'm about to leave.
Mhm.
Kind of decide maybe the night before or something what I'm gonna wear. So I guess there is a whole process to it.
Was there ever one that you look back on and you're like, maybe I didn't pull it off?
I feel like there's been like a few where I'm like, you probably shouldn't have wore that.
Well, you're always on like the best game fits on USL, so that's
Oh,
a
I
that's a
am.
good thing.
I,
Um,
I don't even know if I've seen those.
who is the hardest or most talented player you've ever played against?
Hardest or most talented? What do you mean by hardest, I
Like some
guess?
guy who just like gave you fits all game.
Oh, hardest or most talented? That's a tough one. I would say Yepi Tverskov in San Diego.
Yeah.
Just his ability on the ball and just his spatial awareness of where guys are. It's just impossible to get off the ball. When I came
Hmm.
into the game at San Diego, just it was hard to get close to the guy.
Yeah.
To be honest, he just knows where everyone is. He knows the right pass. He's a really good six. So
Yeah, I think he's incredibly slept on. His ability to play the next ball is super underrated.
yeah, no, he's very
Um,
good.
what's one thing fans would be surprised to learn about you?
One thing's hmm. I mean,
Are you like really good at solving a Rubik's Cube fast?
no, I'll just go with I'm really big into country music, whether it's old time like 90s, early 2000s country, really into any of that kind of music. That's basically what I listen to on the daily.
Yeah, there's definitely an age gap here when you say old times, early 2000s. So I'm like, man, that's my childhood right there, but okay.
Yeah,
What's the best part of being a pro athlete?
I would say it's like it just doesn't feel like a job to me
Hmm.
almost like I'm just living my dream. There's obviously some things that aren't necessarily so great to go on within it, but you're kind of just doing this thing that you love every single day.
Yeah.
Um, it never feels like work, and you're just I feel like after training, especially, you get a lot of your day to look at other things,
Hmm.
and just I don't know. It's not a 9 to 5 job
Yeah.
at a desk, so it's just everything I imagined, I guess.
Yeah, one thing I've realized talking to professional soccer players is the amount of off time you guys actually have, where it's
Yeah,
like you got to fill it up with something that kind of keeps you out of trouble, I guess is
yeah,
the right
yeah,
thing to say. Do you
yeah,
have
for
any
sure.
favorite hobbies that you take up time with?
Yeah, golf.
Yeah.
It's been tough the past 8 weeks with the foot injury. I haven't
Hmm.
been able to play at all, but especially last year we were going probably once a week. So it
Yeah.
was our team last year was huge into golf, and we always do some golf trips in the off season. So that's a big one.
What's your handicap looking like?
It's right around 11.
Okay, much better than me. I'm like, if I'm hitting in the 90s, I'm like happy at this point because I get
Yeah,
4 hours
yeah,
outdoors and I don't have to like be chasing down kids or anything.
yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Pittsburgh so far?
Um, I would say kind of the views, especially where I'm staying at.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if you've been here, but there's some crazy views on Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
Just looking into the city from my apartment, just like where the field is located, where like I can see Acrisure Stadium right now out my window. So I feel like the city is, I don't know, I guess underrated in terms of just the way it is.
Hmm.
You just I feel like there's not many cities that are built down like in this little area that can be overlooked by a little
Yeah.
mountain.
All right. Well, the Denver guy talking about views in Pittsburgh is gonna get some clicks, but yeah, I
Okay.
remember I grew up in Ohio where it's views are cornfields, and I moved to California and I was just like staring at mountains for 30 minutes. I was like, this is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't know if we should clip that one because like Denver, you can't even compare to this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll take Denver all the way.
There's like a TikTok of somebody being like, "This is my view from Denver Target," and it's like a picturesque like background.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then last question: what is one thing that's on your bucket list that isn't soccer related?
One thing on my bucket list that isn't soccer related. Hmm. Wow. I would say just travel Europe.
Hmm.
Um, I've got to go over there for soccer once, to Italy, but I haven't got to explore much of the world yet. The soccer season's so long, and especially our break is only in the winter, that it's tough to
Yeah.
get over there. So I definitely want to go over there with my family, spend some time. Uh, but yeah,
That's great, man. Well, that
yeah.
that's been the game. Let's get underway, and that wraps up Sam's time here on Underway. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Appreciate you taking the time. Do you want to let everyone know socials where they can find you?
My I think Instagram and Twitter, Sam Bassett underscore.
Awesome,
Yeah, that's about it.
awesome, man. Well, happy to see you healthy again. Best of luck the rest of the season, and I'm excited to see the success that's ahead of you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man.
Underway has been brought to you by 818 Productions. Any use of Underway, either acquired through podcast or video format that is captured by a third party with proper credentials, requires the direct written consent of 818 Productions and must be used in compliance with all requirements and restrictions stated therein.